Oh my God, I saw the new Thor movie, Thor Love and Thunder, with a packed crowd. They laughed, they cheered, they cried, they laughed some more. Everybody was just having such a great time. Even like at the end of the movie, everybody clapped. I freaking hated it. Thor Love and Thunder stars Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, Christian Bale, and is directed by Taika Waititi. What's up, guys? We have a fourth Thor movie brought to you by Guns N' Roses. And there are, I think Thor's the only property that has 4 movies now, am I right? There were like 3 Captain America movies, 3 Iron Man movies. So yeah, Thor gets 4 of them, okay? And I only liked, I think, 1, maybe 2. This was worse than, this is the worst Thor movie, okay? I'm just gonna put that right out there, okay? And going into this review, there's a plot point about Jane Foster. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you what it is, okay? So if you don't wanna know what it is, then you might not want to watch this review. But I feel like in order for me, and it's not going to be like a full-on spoiler review, even though who cares, but I definitely want, because what her deal is in this movie is part of the plot, and it'll help me, because I'm not a good reviewer, it'll help me to explain it, I guess, a little better. Maybe some character motivations, all that stuff, so we'll get into that. And going into this, I will say, being fair, I didn't love Thor Ragnarok like everybody else did. Having said that, it's still much, much better than this movie, okay? Maybe Taika Waititi, his style maybe just doesn't jive for me. You know, and he's a talented director, and he loves to, you know, really overload the story with comedy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For me, all right? So, I didn't think it was horrible, Ragnarok, but I didn't love it like everybody else did. All right, so if you loved Ragnarok, then you might like this movie. You might like this movie, okay? If Ragnarok really wasn't for you, then you're really not gonna like this movie. So anyway, first off, quick plot synopsis. We're picking up after the last time we saw Thor, which was Endgame. He loses all the weight. You know, he goes from death bod to gut bod. That was kind of funny. But really quickly in the movie, he meets up with Jane Foster, surprisingly, and she is full on, you know, Thor level. You know, she looks great. She's got the freaking Thor outfit and everything, and she is controlling Thor's hammer. Mjolnir, is that how you say it? He's got his axe. One funny thing I did like about this movie was the push and pull between the axe and the hammer. That was probably my favorite part of the movie, because the axe got a little jealous of the hammer, and Thor got a little jealous of the hammer, and because he wanted the hammer back, and Jane had control of the hammer, even though he kind of gave her control of it anyway. There were a couple moments in there that did make me chuckle. I will be fair about that. Also, since we're talking about the good stuff, Christian Bale he's freaking awesome, okay, in this. He's a great actor. I like the God Butcher as a character. I would have wanted probably more of him, but you know, he's in the movie a pretty good amount. I think a sufficient amount. And he does make a mark, you know? He's the one character that is full on serious. There's nothing funny about him whatsoever, and that's what I liked about him. He would be a great villain, actually. And you know how I said that the second Thor movie was better than this one? Not in the villain department, okay? The Dark Elves are not as interesting as the God Butcher. But I think just in terms of like pacing and storytelling and staying on your mark, I think the second movie's better than this movie. This one just was all over the place. First thing is, do you really need 4 Guns N' Roses songs in your movie? Guys, there are literally 4 Guns N' Roses songs in this movie, and they kind of cancel each other out, because I couldn't even help my eyes from rolling after the third one. I was just like, are you serious? You're really gonna like force Guns N' Roses down our throats? And not just the songs. They have a character in this movie. His name's Axel. And so they're trying to make that funny. There are Guns N' Roses t-shirts and posters all over this thing. And after a while, I'm like, what the hell is going on? Give us a break! Give us a break! Why do they have like a major freaking boner for Guns N' Roses? I don't know. I mean, I like Guns N' Roses. I saw them in concert back in '92 with Metallica. Metallica blew them off the stage. But Guns N' Roses, yeah, they were a great band, all right? But having 4 songs, I will say, if they would have maybe just, like there was this great moment with November Rain in, like near the end of the movie. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? If they would have had no Guns N' Roses songs and then they used that song during that scene, it would have been so much more impactful. But because before that scene, we're already like compounded and overloaded with Guns N' Roses that we're just like, oh great, another Guns N' Roses moment. I guess at this point, Guns N' Roses is kind of like a corporate band. They're a business, okay? And that's what this stunk of. It just stunk of just like you would never see 4 Misfits songs in this movie. I don't think you would. But yeah, I've talked way too long about Guns N' Roses. And that's just like the smallest problem that this movie has. Really, the biggest problem is the tone and the pacing. It's all over the place. The first half of the movie almost feels like a different movie than the second half. The second half is definitely better, which I guess if you're gonna, be better in one part of the movie, that's the part that'll be better. It becomes more focused in the second half, but the first half, it's just them trying to overload jokes that aren't even funny into the movie. And it almost comes off as like cartoonish. Thor is probably the one property of the MCU that gets away with the most jokes. And really, the joke thing with the MCU, I'll admit it, I do laugh at some of the stuff that pops up, but I do think that the MCU really plays it safe. And what I mean by safe is they overload their movies with jokes, because they know that their audience is going to come in and they're going to laugh at the jokes and they're going to have a great time. And hey, isn't that the point? But I think when we look back on all these movies, the only ones that really stick out to me that I watch the most are the Avengers movies. And maybe that's because they have a more serious tone to them. I can watch like the first Iron Man. I can watch some of the single properties. Of course, like Winter Soldier, Civil War. That's great stuff, but again, more on the serious side. And hey, that's just a flavor I like. Like I said, the crowd at this movie, I wasn't lying, they had a blast. Maybe it's because they got in free and they got in a day early. If they paid their hard-earned money, they might not laugh so hard. I don't know, I'm being insulting now, I apologize, but seriously. Was it the 4th Guns N' Roses song that you said, yes, that's what I need? I don't know. Okay, I told you I was gonna spoil the whole Jane Foster thing and then I went off on a rant here. The thing with Jane Foster is she had cancer in this movie, and that's the reason why she became Thor, because at one point, Thor told Mjolnir to take care of her. I do like how they dealt with the subject of cancer. It's a really touchy subject. And I think that is probably one of the best parts of the movie. Like, I didn't really have a problem with Natalie Portman in this movie at all. I thought she, approached the role with dignity and did the best she could. But she was smack dab in the middle of a lot of the over silliness of the movie. And you know what? At the end of the day, this is a movie made up of a couple of nice moments and a whole shitload of throwaway moments that I never want to watch again. So in the end, guys, I'm going to give this movie a straight up 2 hours lost, just because I'll never watch this movie again. And I didn't really have a great time at the end of the movie. A couple nice moments. I didn't even care for the mid-credit scene, if I'm being honest. And I think MCU has maybe overstayed their welcome at this point. That's, or maybe we're just, superhero fatigue. I think it's a combination of all those things. But maybe the MCU should have stopped after Endgame. I don't know. I mean, you can carry on with like some Spider-Man stuff in there, because everybody loves Spider-Man. But yeah, I just think the MCU needs to take a break at this moment because they are getting a little cocky. Okay, that's what I felt like. The MCU was like, we got jokes and everybody's gonna show up and have a good time. At the end of the day, do you have a great, memorable movie? No, not at all. So yeah, that's my review. Sorry guys, I didn't like it at all. Let me know your thoughts on Thor Love and Thunder in the comments. I hope you guys had a great time with this movie, I really did. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks where we talk horror all day and every day on Fridays. We do Free For All Fridays. Follow my Drumdums on my socials, support me on Patreon, buy me a coffee. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Drumdum out.